That was the worst Christmas I ever had.
What?
Well, like at 40 below zero, he had marched into this town, the 82nd. We took the town and we were too far in. They pulled us back out after all we fought. And 2 days later, they sent us back in. This time, the Germans were there.
Hey everybody, before we hop into the video, I just wanted to say that the video is very, very important to myself in the reenactment unit, and the impact that George Fotovich had on me personally and everybody within the reenactment unit is immeasurable. And so without further ado, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about George. George Fotovich was working for the Ford Motor Company in Detroit, Michigan in 1942. When he decided to join the United States Army in November. He was later then assigned to Dog Company, 2nd Battalion of the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne Division. From its inception, he then proceeded to jump into Sicily and Salerno as part of Operation Husky and Operation Avalanche. After that, it was time for rest and regrouping. And so he was then transported to England in preparation for D-Day as part of Operation Overlord. He jumped into France in the pre-dawn hours, and despite the scattered drops and the confusion surrounding the invasion, the men of the 505th were able to organize and hold key objectives like Lafayette Bridge, the N13 highway, and St. Mary Glees. From there, George actually contracted malaria. And so therefore he actually missed the jump over the Netherlands as part of Operation Market Garden on September 17th, 1944. He recovered just in time for him to rejoin his brothers in arms for the Battle of the Bulge. It was during the Battle of the Bulge that he received a wound on his left arm from shrapnel. He was evacuated and spent a couple of months in Paris in a hospital, but was lucky enough to once again return to his unit and brothers in arms as they pushed into Germany. In September of 1945, it was time for George to come home. He had a wonderful woman by the name of Marge waiting for him. During the war, George had actually sent his brother to propose to Marge on his behalf, and she waited. And in January of 2024, we unfortunately lost Marge. And from January until October 30th, 2024, George lived alone, and on October 30th, he finally got to rejoin Marge and passed away peacefully at the age of 101 years old. I had the honor and privilege of knowing George for a very short amount of time, but the impact he made on my life will stay with me forever. His valor and amazing faith is a testament to his character. The interview with George is full of emotions and memories that will stay with him forever. George was happy to share these and to make sure that the memory of Dog Company and the entire 505th is not lost to history. I hope you enjoy and share this video so that his story and others are never forgotten. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy.
Did you grow up here in Florida?
No, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just west of Pittsburgh. Yeah, we had a big family. We we started out on a farm, so we had big farmhouse and 160 acres.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Did y'all raise animals on your farm or just
yeah, we had a dairy. I was the ninth children out of 10 in a family. From Pennsylvania, I moved to Michigan. I spent 28 years in Michigan.
Do you remember where you were when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
I was in Michigan. I remember that Sunday morning, me and the cousin, we just gone to church and come out of church, and I said, bombing had started. And right after that, he said, well, we might as well prepare to go to the Army because they're going to call you. And then they sure did. But they didn't call me. I was too young. But mother and dad had a time for me. That's the way I got it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your parents signed for you so you could enlist early?
Yeah,
Wow.
they didn't the first few months, But then all my friends, they were being older than I was, they were being drafted. So mother and dad said, okay, you can go.
Wow.
When we can think about it now, back then it was nothing to think about. It was just plain a day's work. You did what you had to do one day or another.
When you were in training to jump, was it kind of scary?
As far as the jumpers was concerned, after a couple of jumps, I kind of enjoyed the jump. Well, before the first jump, we didn't go by a plain nose. I think there was eight or nine of us in the plane that you don't think it's a job. You do what you have to do. When we went through there, they said all the GIs going for a kind of pick the ones that they want for Airborne, and then the other ones they mess up, they run them out. And the other thing was, I remember, you never walk no place, you run every place. There was one thing that I hated in jumpsuit. That tower is 250 feet. And when they pull you up here and you're on that tower and you look around, it seemed like you could see the whole world. Oh, I didn't like it, but I did everything right, so I only had to do it once. The jump sergeant, he said, nothing's going to happen to you. When you stop, you're going to be 6 feet above the ground. And sure enough, I was. There's certain things that bother you, certain things that don't, but that's the only thing that I remember bothered me. I run every place, do everything. My mother and dad taught me to do that. So it worked out pretty good for me.
So you made 3 out of the 4 jumps.
Sicily was our first jump, you know, and we were in North Africa there, and we marched back and forth and back and forth. We had a song that we used to sing. Yeah. If I die in Sicily, send me home by COD. 3, 4, sound off the company. Well, it's kind of a mixture. Our first combat jump, I was next to the last man out of the plane. Our plane, one of the motors got hit. When I got to the door to go out, plane flipped up like that. The door was up here, but the pilot was a really good. He brought it back down, and me and the other guy, we went out. The plane had taken us further into the mountain. They're up there. They told us, hey, there ain't no Germans up there. All the Germans that came out of North Africa were in there. The one in France on June the 6th, I think was my 80th jump.
That's good.
There's only one thing. When we went into France, we were so loaded down. I was loaded down with 105 pounds of stuff on me. I couldn't even walk. I had 2 tank mines, one tied to one ankle, one tied to the... When we got to the airplane, it took 4 men to shove me in. You were that heavy. You had, you know, in the plane, you had 3 steps to get in the plane, and I couldn't leave them. They had 2 men in the plane pulling with your hands, 2 men on the ground pushing it. The only other time that I was pretty scared was when we were going to France. They lined up all these airplanes. Every airplane was way overloaded. I mean, he started that airplane up, and the airplane was jumping like this off the ground. Wow. You had to pick up the speed because we had too overloaded. At the end of the airport, as I remember, there was a fence about 3 feet high. I was sitting next to the door, And when we crossed that fence, we just
You barely missed it.
And that plane was just jumping up and down. I was ready to go, you know.
Oh my goodness.
When he released the brake, the airplane jumped forward, and then we made a big turn. And people, the British people down and waving goodbye to us. We knew what we needed. If the land people didn't make it, we had to fight for ourselves. As it was, I come right down to my last clip of ammunition.
Oh, what was your favorite? What was your favorite weapon that you had?
The BAR. I was in headquarters platoon, and there we knew they needed somebody for anything. They pulled you out of headquarters and sent to Louie. They first came out with that stovepipe bazooka. You're going to be a bazooka man. What's a bazooka? He bought one, and good God, that's nothing but a stovepipe. It had its power. I was raised the gunner, and Bill Fleming was the assistant gunner, and Carl, he was the ammunition bearer. There were three of us there. Well, at that time, we were assigned as anti-tank. Germans had the big tanks. I mean, that 62-ton Tiger tank. In one place, they were on one side of the hill, and we were on the other. At about 5 o'clock in the morning, they started their engines up. All four of those tanks, you know. Paratroopers shaking their boots. That hill was sitting like that. How are we going to take care of tanks like that? Right up there, we had no artillery or nothing, just plain tanks. As it was, they started to come at it with two French Renault tanks, small tanks. We knocked them out right away. And of all things, they put them big tanks into reverse and went back.
Did you have any nicknames in D Company?
Oh,
Did the
yeah.
fellas call you anything?
A lot of times, Fotovich, 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 they'd call me Footnadich. We had two Indians, in Herbert, Buffalo Boy. The other guy, I forget what his name, first name was, but the last name was Cloud.
Do you remember Colonel Vandervoort at all?
Yes. It's one thing we got along good, but General Gavin, he was the youngest general in the army, and we got along good with him because he was a leader. I mean, when you go in someplace, you look around for him, and he's already there. We were out in this going up a hill in the wooded area, and the trees were very high, only 10 or 12 feet. And I was a communication man, so they set me up there to set up for overnight communication. The lieutenant said, anybody that comes out of there, shoot them. You are the furthest in. Well, after about maybe an hour or something like that, I hear this rustling lead. Oh, that's the two guys. And I put my gun up, when they get this over in the area, I gotta shoot them. They were American. And later on, I found out he was the general, and he found a shot about it, I'll still be in jail. Yeah, but often there's things like that happen, you know, and you just don't know where it's going to happen. In Holland, we were in 40 degrees below zero. I mean, that's cold. The snow was up to chest deep. In order to get out of the wind, we dug into it, and we talked to people, and they said, "Oh, that's too bad. This is the worst winter we ever had." Oh yeah, you had the worst winter because I'm here.
Right?
Yeah.
So why would it have to be now?
Can you tell me a little bit about Lieutenant Ray? Waverly Ray?
He didn't drink or smoke but he made the difference. Then a couple of times he got on to me. In North Africa, they put us out on the desert. It's 115, 18, 20 degrees out there, and that sand, when that sand got hot, it's like a furnace. He come around and said, "All right, all you guys, write a letter home." Yeah, I wrote a letter home, but I was in a bad shape. They read the letters that we wrote, when they censor them. He happened to censor mine. Go out there and say, "Come here, I want to talk to you." He wrote me down. "You don't write letters like that to home. You can take care of your father. Do the best you can." But I hated to see him get shot in Holland. He was always on the ball. He was always ahead, one step ahead of you. We began to realize, and then they made him assistant commander, so he had a lot of authority. I really hated to hear about his death in Holland. He was a real good guy. I mean, for some of the officers, like the lieutenants, we didn't care for them because they did
bossy.
that and the other thing. And when you have 100, like our company had 160 people in it, you're bound to find people who don't like somebody.
Yeah, you put them all in a room together.
I sure hated this here, there in Holland, under that bridge. In the Bible, I was his body survives are wonderfully and fearfully made.
Uh-huh.
And they are, because he sent us through North Africa in 110, 12, or 116, 18 degree weather. Your body could take it. Now, 6 months later, we were in northern Italy. It rained all the time, so you,
Oh my goodness.
you were in ankle-deep mud all the time. That's worse. For some reason or another, we were just kids. I was 18, 19, 20 years old. Throw it at me, I can take it off.
What about Christmas Eve in Belgium?
That was the worst Christmas I ever
What?
Well, like at 40 below zero, we had marched into this town, the 82nd. We took the town, and we were too far in. They pulled us back out after all we fought. And 2 days later, they sent us back in. This time, the Germans were there. And when we were coming in down the road, they began to shell us. I spent Christmas Eve in a graveyard with my back against the stone, sitting on my canteen so it wouldn't freeze. A week later, I was hit with artillery. You know that 88 millimeters is a shell about that long.
Yeah.
They threw 3 of them at me. He missed me 2 times, but the 3rd time, and I got shrapnel, and then we had a pretty good time when we were sent to North Ireland. That was where we had, it rained in North Ireland. You went, anytime you went any place, you took a raincoat. The time came when all the old men from 82nd that went over, most of them were dead or wounded. One time in D Company, we lost our commander and a couple of lieutenants, the communications sergeant. When they pulled us out of there was a handful of. One day, we pulled back. We were changing clothes and one thing and another like that, and we had no commander. He got killed. Another sergeant got killed. They gave us a lieutenant, a young lieutenant. I think he was just from the States or somehow or another like that. One day I was fooling around, taking care of my stuff, you know, and first sergeant came to me and said, "Fotovich, company commander wants to see you." And I said, "We don't have no company commander." He said, "As of 10 minutes ago, you have a commander, and he wants to see you." Took myself, dressed up a little bit. I went in there, PFC, here's according to me. The first thing he did, he would cut me out. He said, "Oh, who do you think you are?" I said, "What's the guy talking about?" He said, "You mean to tell me you was telling the Army whether you get on assignment or not?" I said, "No, sir. I just like to be a PFC well." He said, "Attention, Staff Sergeant." It took me a minute to figure out what he was saying. And then he said, we don't do this very often, but he said, the situation, what it is now, you're a staff sergeant, you're taking over communications. I know communication because I've been there 3 years. Then the sergeant come to me, he said, "By the way, we don't have a platoon sergeant." Platoon sergeant got hurt, killed around whatever it was. He says, you're the platoon sergeant." I got two jobs.
2 promotions, 2 jobs, yeah.
Within 5 minutes. Since I'd been in there for almost 2 years, it wasn't so bad, you know. After that, a big thing happened. The German army surrendered to me. You know, the German, the 116th German army surrendered first to the 82nd. And when they signed the surrender, all of the 116th German army came over our side because we were right next to the Russians. They didn't want to go to the Russians.
Yeah, they said, "No, I'll go to you."
Can you imagine 220,000 people? That's how much was in the 16th Army. We had 4 or 5 different countries in between there. So it was a big mess. But the good thing was when we heard that Hitler had committed suicide, is that the war is over. Many of the people that I had ever seen. In my group, I got 40 Hungarians, but the good thing was I'm Hungarian. I had these 40 Hungarians. Mm-hmm. I gave them all a gun, put them around the field.
So you used them to help guard the 400 Germans?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did they agree to help you?
Yeah, sure. They were hungry.
There you go.
There was one German, he was a nasty one. Anyhow, he got shot. And then the company commander comes to me and said, "Fotovich, you got to go and bury that guy. Get to a man, go bury that guy. Where are we going to bury him? We're right over there." So I got to 2 Germans to dig into his grave, and we put a man, buried the guy. During the night, they had, they didn't go to sleep. They were hollering about it, especially about this guy that got shot. And by 8 o'clock next morning, they come to the commander and said, "All right, go and dig that man up." Well, what am I going to do that for? He came to me, "How come you're digging this man up?" I said, his head had faced the wrong way. He looked at me, "Oh." we were burying him. I mean, stupid things. Anyway, there were times when we could laugh about something.
Yeah, that seems like a silly thing for them to be upset about. So you're a man of faith. How would you say was your faith tested during the war?
Well, from the Bible I find out you're not going to die till your day. See? You know the Bible says the books are open and your name is written down in the book. It tells you when you were born, when you're going to get married, who you're going to get married to, when you're going to die. I had that always in the back of my mind. But don't get me wrong, I was scared a lot of times. I knew what the Bible said about me. You're going to live and die in my knowledge. Neither of us have terminal illness. The Lord has got to take us somehow.
God is good. God has blessed you with such a wonderful marriage and such a long life. I'm really encouraged to hear how you held on to your faith through all of that and how that encouraged you.
I'm so thankful that I not only had the opportunity to meet George Fotovich, but also to have conversations with him and hear his stories. Sadly, George actually did pass away several months ago, so hopefully this video will help to keep his legacy alive. Please consider sharing this video so that other people can hear his stories as well. Thanks, guys.